Hi, characters! I am so excited to video blog right now because this week's episode of Game of Thrones, this is the 9th episode of the 6th season. It was by far the best episode of the entire season so far, and I would say maybe the top 3 episode of Game of Thrones ever. I'm putting that on blast. Seriously, it was so good. I had to instantly watch it again, and I knew that this episode, just really more than any other, stirred my feelings deeply. Like, the spine of my soul was tingling. It was really deep. So, I actually even wrote out notes to go over in this video blog to you. It was that serious and that intense. My excitement was at, the Jon Snow coming back from the death episode. It was even higher than that. Like, it was just so much throughout the episode. So many emotions being pulled. Shout out to the showrunners for really coming to fruition so many things. This was such a great episode of things that we thought maybe were going to happen, really happening in a spectacular way. Like this Battle of the Bastards, we knew this was going to happen. Somebody's going to need to fight Ramsay. And wow! What an amazing fight scene! The choreography of the war scene, what? Like Jon Snow was like just whipping around like a ninja in there. Anyway, okay, let me do this in order. I first want to talk about who won the episode. It was clearly Sansa. Sansa for the win. Like, hands down, she won the episode. She showed her strength of strategy. She showed that she should not be a bystander to what's happening. She is in the Game of Thrones, and the girl is playing, and she has learned, and she is steps ahead, and she is observing, and she's like, I know Ramsay. Don't you want to get my first-hand experience from this, Sigmo? And he's like, yeah, sure, what should I do? And he's like, okay. She's like, okay, these are the things. You need to let go of Rickon, because Rickon is already dead. And Jon's like, what? We gotta save Rickon. He's like, yeah. Sansa's like, yeah, Rickon's already dead. And that was step 1. Step 1, she was like, he's gonna play with you. You need to say goodbye to Rickon in your heart. And that was the first thing he did! Ramsay had Rickon running around. Also, Rickon should have zigzagged. There's arrows coming at you, zigzag on the field. Like, it's not like he just made himself an easy target. So that was really tragic. Poor Rickon, R.I.P. But Jon Snow walked into that thinking he had a chance to save his brother. No, Ramsay was not going to give anybody a chance. He was just going to do it in the most theatrical and tragic way for his advantage, which Jon Snow fell for, which Sansa called. Then it was the next step, which Jon walked into the trap and moved his entire army closer so that Ramsay could just throw all of the arrows. Like, it was a rain of arrows. Jon Snow at one point, I thought he was gone for at least 17 times. Like, I wanted to have a bell counter to, like, how many times Jon Snow almost just died again. Like, he was about to die just there. He was about to die just there. Because so many times throughout the episode, and my heart was being pulled, he was almost suffocated. He was almost, like, cut in the eyes. He was, like, holding on to a dude. That dude got cut. A horse is coming at him. Another horse takes that horse out just, like, in time. It was so in the nick of time his entire life. So the Lord of Light was really looking out for him because he nearly died at least 17 times in this episode and stuff. And then Sansa comes with the win. The raven that she sent last episode that was like, who is she riding that raven to? And I thought it was perhaps Littlefinger. Yes! Brought the Knights of the Vale in just in time! Sansa for the win, deep. Because he was like, Jon Snow was running around trying to figure out the game as it was happening, but Sansa had figured it out steps ahead. Before they walked into the battlefield, she was like, it's gonna be ugly, because he's a tricksy one, and he's the one that lays the traps. And Jon was like, no, I would trap him. Nope. You will be in his trap. Don't fall for it. He fell for it the whole way. The whole time I was like, Sansa said there'd be days like this. And it was a rough day. But she came in with the win and the Knights of the Vale. I'm concerned about what Littlefinger is going to hold over her head. And seeing the previews from next episode, apparently it's marriage that he wants to do to her in exchange for saving her and her brother and letting them reclaim the North. So that's frightening because Littlefinger as a husband, don't trust him. Period. So, no on that marriage proposal. But we'll see, because I'm Team Sansa. She killed it. I also want to talk about how amazing the scenes in Marine were. So entertaining! Oh, my girl Dany, she's so dark and just full of terrors herself. Like, she has no time for anybody. She's like, I will slaughter all the masters, crucify them, return their cities to the dust. That's what's about to happen. And I love how Tyrion's like, well, that sounds pretty Mad King-ish. FYI, we could potentially maybe not kill the entire city. And it looks like maybe that perhaps will go down well. Like, I like that whole play out, and he's like, now you got to live, so you get to be the town crier and tell everybody what happens when they go against Dany. It's not good. There's dragons, there's Unsullied, now there's the Dothraki. She is so bad! Oh, I love her. I'm so excited for her. And then I love the scenes. Oh, I love the scenes between her and Yara. Like, can you feel that chemistry on screen? Like, can we really get that? Oh, they were so good. So I'm really excited that they have this now kinship with the Ironborn to help them reclaim their throne, because, yeah, that was just a really entertaining scene, and that banter. Like, well, I heard your father's horrible. Well, I heard your father was horrible too. So I really think that was really funny that they were like seeing each other and they're like, yeah, but we're bad chicks and we're going to change this world and make it better. So fingers crossed that could actually occur in Game of Thrones, because as we've seen, a lot of the rulers that have come into power have really just made it a worse place for everyone, like including themselves. So like totally support just this mission of actually making the world better on purpose. Speaking of which, I was at the Janelle Monáe concert here in SF yesterday, and it was so fantastic. She was on fire. Like, oh, she was just running around the stage and singing and pouring her heart out, and there were so many beautiful moments where she connected with the audience about what happened in Orlando, about her constant fight for social justice. And she was like, I'm here and I love everybody and I have to say my piece and I have to be who I am. And I can't be afraid of saying my voice. And you need to be that way too in your life. And it was just beautiful. Like, Janelle Monáe, thank you for that concert. It reinvigorated my passion for creativity and sharing your voice on a unique way. So, speaking of which, tonight I will be sharing my novel, The Goddess Twins, at the Late Night Open Mic Series at the New Parkway Theater. I'm so excited. This is actually going to be one of the first times that I'm sharing the later part of the book, so excited to share it because it's such a fun novel, and I'm so excited to get it really ready to throw out into the world and all you guys to catch it and snuggle it. So, that's about it. Can't wait for next week's episode of Game of Thrones. This week's episode was so good. I mean, I already watched it 3 times. I might watch it another 3 times. Oh, I mean, I could go in so deep still, even more. But, thank you for sharing. Bye, characters!